Okay, so today we're going to cover 5 hacks for getting started with Portion Fix. These are also 5 hacks for staying on track. So it kind of goes with our last week's talk of staying on track during vacation and how to get back on track after a vacation where you may not have been very on track. It's all about getting on track, right? I feel like we're all about organizing ourselves to do the best we can and develop habits that keep ourselves going. So Autumn made a video for this month's monthly fix, and it's about the 5 hacks. So I watched it today, took some notes, and it was funny because there was actually a couple of things where I was like, oh, I mean, like most of it I'd heard of, right? Like I think we probably all talked about, but some of it I was like, oh man, that's a really great idea. I hadn't really thought about that. So let's get into it. Let me get my notes up here real quick, and we will talk about each point, and we can have a discussion about it all. So is anybody not using Portion Fix? I'm curious. Anybody 2B mindset? You're kind of in between, Kim? I like that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm more 2B. But
you're more 2B. I think honestly, these are all going to be pretty versed across both plans. One of the points is going to be a little bit like unnecessary because you're going off more intuitive eating. But for the most part, I think this really can span both plans because it's really about keeping things in the forefront and having yourself organized in a way that you're prepped for getting the things done. Not necessarily that your food is all prepped, but that you're kind of mentally prepped. Things in your workspace are prepped, kind of a thing, things in your kitchen.
I watched the video today too. It was kind of in the background. I don't know how much I've seen, but it's good to go over. But no, I kind of bounce back and forth, I guess. I mean, I have used my red for my yogurt today. So I guess I do about, kind of.
Yeah, I think, when you're on 2B, sometimes the Portion Fix containers are kind of nice to judge a portion to start. Right. And then, you can determine, do I need more than that? Right. And kind of get, a feel. But it's funny because I know a lot of people want to go one or the other, but really, and I don't necessarily advocate them both together. I think you can use containers to figure out portions and things like that, but trying to merge the two is a little bit confusing. But I don't think you can go wrong by following one for a while, learning from it, and then maybe thinking, okay, let's try this other one and see if it works better for me, and learning from that too. Because I think in both experiences, you really learn more about you, your eating, and what works best for you.
I agree.
Yeah. And they're all, they're working toward the same goal. They're working on the best foods we can put in. And, it's just a little bit different avenue to get there. So, all right. So let's start with number 1. So this is one that I do normally and have for quite a while because it makes it easier on myself. It is plan similar meals for the week. So I generally keep my breakfast pretty much the same kind of ingredients. So what she's talking about here, like her example is eggs and oatmeal. So maybe you make the eggs in a different way to, zhuzh it up for the week, right? So like maybe one day you have an omelet, one day you have eggs and spinach, one day they're hard boiled, but it's still just eggs. And then same with oatmeal, maybe one day, like I've been having savory oatmeal lately. And that's been kind of a really great change for me because I feel like my sugar cravings are down a lot, just starting my morning with savory versus sweet. And, but maybe some days you have the sweet oatmeal, right? Little bit of maple syrup, or maybe you just put some apples and cinnamon in there, peaches and cream kind of a idea, whatever it is, right? So you're doing those, you have those same base foods. You can totally make some of that ahead, do some egg cups, hard-boiled eggs, do your steel cut oats or your oatmeal ahead of time. And then you can just kind of modify them through the week. So it still tastes a little different. Your flavors are there, but you're not having to get all these ingredients for completely different meals for every breakfast. Okay. So same idea, like last night I grilled a bunch of chicken breasts, and tonight I had some in my savory oatmeal with some mushrooms and zucchini. And then tonight I'm going to have it in a quesadilla And the kids are going to have quesadillas with the chicken that's been grilled. So it's just taking something that you can make ahead and then make it work in different flavor profiles through your week. So that way you're not having to constantly reinvent the wheel every meal, but you still get different flavors. Does that make sense? Does anybody already do that a little bit? Yeah. So, okay, let's go to number 2. Pair your containers the same way each day. So I really like this one too, because then if you're always thinking protein, veggie, carb, and if you're on A, you don't get that extra carb, but in general, you're for sure protein, veggie. On the meals you can, you add that carb in. And then from there, so you've always got that kind of base. And then from there, you can plan in where your orange goes, where your blue goes. If you have some fruits, you know, you can put those through the day. But that's kind of a good base, and things to eat together is doing that green, yellow, orange, or sorry, green, yellow, red. And then you have an idea of what's coming, right? So then you can also plan those foods that you've made ahead, how you're going to use them, because you know how you match them together. Now, I'm doing time nutrition right now. And it's funny because I'm noticing how much, one, I was snacking. 2, how much I would just throw in some healthy fat here and there with things to kind of make it taste good. And now it's like I only get it at that one meal. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna have to really think how I'm combining things so that I'm still enjoying them, but I'm also following the container plan. So if you struggle with getting all your containers in or figuring out how to match them, definitely use the time nutrition to start. And then you can, you know, if it's not working for you all the way, you can then go back to reassociating your own containers, but at least you'll have a better idea of how things come together and making sure you're getting them in all the way. And how's everybody doing with that piece of just getting all your pieces in each day, 2B or portion fixed? Because, you know, even with 2B, you have percentages that you have to have on your plate, and making sure that your percentages are up to what the Plate It method is.
For me, I love the time nutrition because it tells me exactly what I need to eat when I eat, and I put it in my alarms in my phone, and it's so easy. If I have to plan, it doesn't happen really, to be honest. So if I just put it in my phone and I say, okay, my 9 o'clock, you know, alarm went off and I have a purple and a green or whatever, whatever my time nutrition says, it's super easy. I just reach in the fridge, and I never try to plan my meals out by my containers in terms of making a big meal to meet all the containers. I just kind of throw it together based off of what container it is. So, and that works well for me.
Yeah, so you basically fill the containers with ingredients and make like a bowl work, or make some combos work, or just eat things separate. Yeah, and I'm finding I'm doing that a lot this week. Well, especially because a lot of the combo meals are easier in the winter, right? Just because they're a lot of cooking or just on the stove, and you can do these one pot, like the gumbo is amazing. And there's so many things that are so good, but I don't want them in summer. So I'm finding myself definitely like filling the containers and just making that happen right now. And then as we, you know, progress into fall, can start, or as you get used to things too, you can start making more meals. Like the turkey chili is super easy to containerize, you know, put in a portion and then stick in the freezer, so it's just already ready. Or the turkey sloppy joes. Those are all things that are really easy to make ahead and pretty much go with just about any meal you would have. And most of the meals, even on time nutrition. And then you can just pull that portion out.
Well, and for me, my fridge is right here, so it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm super busy, so I don't have time to make a big elaborate meal at all. Like, just crazy running around. So it works best for me that way. But if you had a job where you had to go and teach school all day, you would really need to plan ahead and plan your meal out, day out with your containers, and make sure that you brought everything with you.
Right. And I think, and Kim, I don't know, I mean, it would probably be hard to do the time nutrition because you're not able to eat every 2 to 3 hours because you don't get those breaks until you're at the end. So 2B would probably work better because then you can do 3 meals.
True. When 80-day obsession first came out, it was impossible for me to do time nutrition like that. I have to schedule like going to the bathroom. It's hard.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. That's the great thing about both the plans is that the goal is to get all the nutrition in the day. And then from there, if there's ways that make it better, easier, more understandable for you, then that's where the different pathways are there, right? If IF works for you, if time nutrition works for you, if just getting your containers in the day works for you, that's what's the most important part, is getting in those macros in the right amounts and enough nutrition for the day to fuel you through your workouts.
I agree. Yeah, I think that is the most important part, right? Finding
and so I think sometimes we get caught up, right, on like making it complicated or being more complicated or picking the complicated. Like I did see someone the other day who she like laid out a chart of 2B mindset and then how the containers would fit into 2B mindset and like tried to make them all. And I'm like, well, it's a little too we don't have to be that complicated, right? It's just like either eat plated, eat portion. And, it doesn't have to be this big of a deal.
Right. Well, for me, like when I combine the two, I guess what I mean is that like I don't sweat it if I eat more vegetables than I'm supposed to eat. And it also means that I'm measuring out my carbs. I'm not just guessing how many carbs. So that's usually how I combine the two. And I'm using the plated method so that I'm eating my carbs earlier in the day. And
And I think that makes total sense too, because then I do like to have a more veggie heavy dinner. And I haven't quite figured that out on time nutrition yet, because I think I need to pick one of them. I need to pick the smaller meal last, but then so far my timing's a little bit off and I end up having the bigger meal last. And I don't know, I'm still figuring it out this week, but that's the beauty of it, right? Like I think the portion fix allows you to see a regular portion size and then determine if that fits within your 2B mindset, and if that's kind of what works for you, because you can always change that, which is nice.
Well, and like Kim said, I kind of combine them, 2B mindset and portion fix, with just moving my yellows earlier in the day.
Yeah.
That works best for my body, because I just like, I'll eat, I had something yesterday or the day before, and it was like instant bloat. And it was a carb, at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, because I was working, and I knew when I was eating it, I was like, this is going to make me bloat. And sure enough, the next day I was like, what? Come on. But it's just, everybody's body's different, and you have to figure out what works for you.
Totally.
Yeah. It's so funny how you learn as the years go by. Like when I first tried the 21-day fix, I was like, I couldn't stand, like, I thought the yellow containers were so small for carbs, and I couldn't stand splitting it up. Like, so I would like save all my yellows for the end of the day with my dinner, so I didn't feel deprived, and I'd have this big serving. And, over the years, that's really completely flipped, but.
Right. Yeah. It's funny what you find out what's important to you, right? Like, I've been using cheese a little more often than I thought. Now that I'm down to 1 blue right now. So it's kind of funny, where you can kind of see how things are going.
I'm still trying to find a plan that gives me a yellow container full of peanut butter.
Right. Well, it'd be the 2B powder, but I don't think it'd be as enjoyable as peanut butter.
Make it out of cauliflower.
Right. Yeah. Can cauliflower become peanut butter?
Well, maybe
pizza.
If you blended like peanut butter with riced cauliflower,
somebody should experiment.
You could possibly, my gosh, that cauliflower ice cream doesn't taste like cauliflower.
That's true. You could do it for ice cream. You could do it for peanut butter.
Right? And cauliflower became pizza too. There's hope. There's hope.
Yeah, there really is. You really have me thinking about this now.
Right?
I know you need to make that cauliflower ice cream.
I know.
Oh, good.
I told
I'm
Jack about it too, because
telling
now
you.
we're both on time nutrition, and bless his heart, he's hanging in there. But at 4 today, he's like, "Oh, I have to eat again." And I'm like, "I know, it's a lot of meals."
Yeah.
But I'm like, we'll make the cauliflower ice cream and test it out. And he's like, "What is it?" He's like, "Is it a yellow?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "It's a green and a blue. We can do it."
Yeah. Yeah. You have to give up your cheese, or in my case, avocado.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of avocado lately too.
I actually do. I followed Portion Fix for years and years. And then when I learned to be mindset, I found that a lot of the practices, the ideas behind it were very easy to add to Portion Fix, like water first.
Yeah.
I was already kind of doing that. So I definitely do that. And I actually do, I don't write down all my meals, but I definitely know what I've eaten. And I will go through periods of time where I will weigh myself the next day to see like how my body responded, especially if I like go out or something, and I'll see how my body responds to certain meals.
Yeah.
If I hold weight or if I don't. And it is one of those things that fluctuates though, because it fluctuates depending upon your cycle. It depends upon, how heavy you're lifting and what phase you're in a workout. So it's kind of difficult to do that. So I don't know. I go back and forth on that one, but I can tell, like I do know where if I go out to eat at this place, oh yeah, I will have like a 3-pound gain or something, like a 2 to 3 pound gain, but it's mainly water weight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, you can't physically gain that much fat in a meal.
Right.
It's your body's response. Right. So, and I think that's where people kind of get panicked. Like, I did this and oh my God, now I've got all this weight. Well, you can, just like Alana says, you can take it off as fast as you put it on. So if it was a day that you put it on, drink some water and get back to your plan, and then it'll be off.
Right.
Yeah, I remember saying to people, did you eat 10,000 calories yesterday? Because I don't think you did.
And even if you did, okay, let me interject this really quick because I thought this was fascinating. So I was reading, and I'll post this in the group. I was reading a precision nutrition article that talked about metabolism adaptation. And one of the things it talks about is the percentage of the calories that you actually absorb, right, as it's going through your body. And it says the more whole food it is, the less percentage you actually absorb as it's going through, because it's more difficult for your body to digest. So it has to work a little harder. Plus it just doesn't get the time to digest it all. It's going through your system and it can only do so much. So the other piece of that is the more processed, easily digestible, right? So your processed foods that are ready, or think in terms of recover on our end, that goes into your system and you get more of those calories, right? So you're absorbing a higher percentage. So if it's like, say, 100 calories that you've eaten, maybe you absorb 90 calories of the highly digestible, but you only absorb 70 calories of the one that's harder to digest. Does that make sense? So having those processed, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because we've seen so much weight gain in our country from processed foods being in our diet, and those calories. So it's not, this was a lot of talk too about, it's not as simple as calories in, calories out. And that's kind of where that comes into play. If you're eating those whole foods, your body's getting what it can as it goes through. But if you have foods that are highly digestible, right? So easy for your body to intake, it will get more of the calories than what you put in. So I thought that was really interesting. We'll think on that for a minute. Let's go to number 3. All right. So set a timer to eat. That's what Lily just said. Lily already knew the list. No, I'm just kidding. So setting a timer to eat. So like today, it was kind of funny. I was supposed to eat at 12 and my husband jumped out a Zoom call in the kitchen. So I couldn't go in there and eat. So then I was delayed by another hour. And so now I'm totally off schedule. I still have 2 meals left and it's 5:30 here. So it's going to be an interesting night for me, but I was at least paying attention to know what time I should have been eating, but I should have been more on the ball with when his Zoom calls were. So if you need help in that area, if you're getting busy and you're missing your time, especially on time nutrition, then make sure you're setting that timer to eat. I have never been one of those people to miss a meal. I've never been that busy. So this is a little bit foreign to me, but if you are a person where you can miss a meal because you're busy, then have a timer. Make sure you get it. You either, Kim? You got to pretty much drag me.
I don't think I've ever missed a meal. I don't. Well, except when I was a kid, when I didn't eat breakfast for like most of my life, and then fine then. But no, I've never missed lunch or dinner.
Yeah. So, all right, number 4. This is one that I hadn't really even thought of. Sorry, there's a hair. Okay, so you organize your refrigerator. So she has things so that you can see what's readily available, right? If you're always putting your veggies in the same place, you're always putting your fruits in the same place, your proteins that are ready, pre-made meals, if you have those ready. So it's a way so that when you open that refrigerator, you got a quick inventory and you can see what's possible. So that's a great way to also kind of keep you on track, but also tell you, am I getting low? Because I know there's been times in our refrigerator, I'll be like, oh, I had no idea that was way back there. And now it's rotten and I missed out. So it was a great idea. I don't know if I'll be that organized, but I definitely am trying to put things that I know are available to me kind of up front so I can see them, or things that have an expiration that are maybe sooner. Like if you have a yogurt that's coming up soon, kind of stick that in the front so you remember to use it. But I thought that was a really great idea. And she showed a picture of her freezer. Now, I don't know if that was just for the video because it was super, super organized. Like it was really pretty. And I'm not sure if that was just for us or if it's the way it looks all the time, but like all of her fruits were on top. All of her vegetables, frozen vegetables were in the middle. And then whatever, I don't know, meats and stuff and waffles in the freezer. I don't know. She had it all organized. So also, again, in the freezer, there's always something mysterious toward the bottom that we don't find for a long time. So it's usually a whole chicken. That guy always drops down to the bottom and then we find him when he's, a little bit freezer burned. Sorry, I'm laughing at Beverly laughing at me. Oh, what'd you say, Lily? I can't hear you.
I said my fridge never looks like that.
Lord, no. Well, you have a tiny fridge right now.
Well, yeah, right now it's just Tetris, wherever things can go. But at home, I think, I have a veggie drawer and then a place where my milk goes. And other than that, it's just wherever anything goes.
Yeah, wherever it fits. But if that's an issue, you can organize to make sure you see it all.
I have the same problem as Deanne said. I mean, I'll look for the veggies and I'm like, I was positive I had some. And I'm like, no, I'll order not 1 or 2. And then I looked in there, I'm like, I had some. So now I had to buy containers to see the expiration date. And that way I know what to use first and then what to use last.
Yes, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then number 5, I practiced this one myself. Eat your least favorite part of the meal first or hide it. I always get the thing I like the least out of the way first because I want to enjoy the rest after that and have the good flavors on the way to finishing my meal. Because the example she talked about was Dominic, which, kids can kind of get away with this, right? Where it's like they keep eating the thing they like, and then maybe the broccoli sits on the plate and then they're like, well, but I'm full, so I can't finish the broccoli. So eat whatever you're not as crazy about first, which I would guess everybody's probably on the veggie train for that, unless it's really some amazing vegetables, which actually fits in Alana's plan, which is eat your veggies first. fill up on the veggies first. She believes in the thing you eat first is the thing you'll eat the most of in your meal. I can't remember what video I saw that on, but it makes sense to me.
That's terrible. I like to eat what
I don't do that.
Yeah.
You guys don't like doing that? You like to eat what you like first?
No, I like to eat all of it. I'm one of those people that eats a little bit of all of it. I mix it because I really like how it all tastes together usually, or a couple things taste together.
Well, that's okay. And you're not leaving things, right? You're not going to leave it at this point. So this is really for people who are maybe leaving out the things, or maybe they're not finding their meal as enjoyable. All right. So that was and then hide it. Sorry. The hide it part, if you want to stick it in your shake. I've been doing a lot of cauliflower rice and a lot of cucumber. She mentioned doing cubed, frozen butternut squash. Has anybody done that?
I do pumpkin.
Oh,
and there's Shakeology?
Pumpkin? Yeah.
Cubed pumpkin. I do cubed pumpkin. I process pumpkin in the fall, actually, even into this. I process it all year. Pretty much. I buy pumpkins and then they sit in my house until I use them. Okay. And then I freeze them. But yeah.
That sounds good too, because then you can make your own pumpkin latte type. Yeah. Oh, I like that idea.
I've used pumpkin and butternut squash from the can, or from the like the soups that are just butternut squash.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I've used that in my shakes before.
Okay.
Like when you get the pumpkin spice, I like it a little bit more pumpkin-y, so I add some pumpkin to it.
Yeah. Oh, right there. There we go. I love it.
And you don't taste the flavor of it?
Well, the pumpkin, I think you taste a little more than you would the butternut squash. No, you don't? Okay.
No,
just
not really.
Regular pumpkin, Beverly?
This is, like you buy a pumpkin, like at Aldi or Walmart or wherever you choose to buy it. And we used to bake them, but I purposely bought a pressure cooker that is ginormous. It's a 14 quart.
Wow.
So we're able to quarter a large pumpkin and put half of it in the pressure cooker.
There it is.
Yep.
That is huge.
But yeah, so we put like half of it in the pressure cooker at a time, and it takes about 12 minutes. That's what I put it on. And then you take it out, let it cool enough that you can handle it, get the skin off of it, and then cut it into, slices and cubes, and put it onto cookie sheets with wax paper. And then you stick it in the freezer. And then once they're frozen, then you just pop them all off and stick them into bags, and that's it.
Nice.
I'll try it.
Okay, well, I know what I'm doing this fall.
Yeah, I mean, Scott always makes fun of me. The kids, it's like a big thing. Like, how many pumpkins are gonna go bad this year, Mom? Because I'll buy like 5 or 6, and I'm the weird person that will set them out on my front porch in October. But if it's gonna get cold enough, I'm bringing them inside at night and then putting them back out and bringing them back in. And
I love it.
If you don't let them freeze, they last a long.
Yeah,
we have gone till May and June before processing them. That's how long they will last.
Yeah.
Wow.
Them all at once because we only have so much freezer space.
Yeah. Well, that's the same with butternut squash. We've had, because our uncle always grows butternut squash, and so when we get it in October, and then it sits in our cold closet for months and months and months until we use it.
Yeah. So I mean, it works. You just have to be very careful. You have to make sure that there's no, Mars on it, because if there's any Mars, then that's a place where it could start to get bad.
Boil.
And once it goes bad, then it's done.
Then you've lost your pumpkin.
I don't know.
I love it. Does anybody else have anything they put in their shakes that they're like hiding, or to get their veggies in? No?
Frozen kale, spinach.
I can't do kale, and I love kale like on its own. I cannot do it in a shake. I don't know what happens to it.
It's it makes it pretty kind of gritty or
yeah, it's like it's
like
rough.
I used to have a pulverizer, and that broke finally after like 20 years, and I just didn't want to spend the money, so I bought a cheaper one, and it doesn't do it the same. So I don't put kale in mine now. But I did buy frozen kale already, like cut up or chopped up or something at the store, and I used that for a little while, and that worked actually really well, because when it's frozen, it gets like super crispy, and
right, it probably can blend it better.
Yeah, it blends it better if it's frozen. So.
Yeah. Well, good. All right, so that's our 5 hacks. Oh, did you want to talk, Maribel? Okay, sorry, you popped off on the mute, so I thought I'd ask. So that's the 5 hacks, and obviously you can use those getting started or all the way through, restarting, staying steady. They're all pretty simple things, but definitely make a big difference in being prepared. Does anybody have food labels they want to talk about tonight or questions? All right, Lily's got a label. You're on mute. Okay, so, it's pizza made from chickpeas?
Yes.
Okay, this will be interesting.
So half a pizza is 400 calories. Fat is 19 grams. Carbs are 50 grams. Fiber is 6 grams. 4 grams of sugar, no added sugar, and 16 grams of protein. And the ingredients are chickpeas, water, tapioca, cocoa butter, which is interesting, olive oil, and then less than 2% of yeast, oregano, garlic powder, salt, date powder, sunflower, baking powder.
So let's see. So that was a half a pizza?
That's half a pizza, yeah. It's
so
it's almost like a quarter is, not even a quarter is like 1 serving.
You're like 2.5 yellows there. And at least a blue. I don't remember what the grams for fat are for a blue. And you'd be like, maybe a protein, be a little under 1 probably. So I think because it's mostly yellow.
Yeah, because of the carbs are 50 carbs.
Yeah,
like a lot, even though
chickpeas are going to be a lot.
Yeah, there's 6 fiber, so it's a good carb to fiber ratio, but it's still a lot of carbs.
Yeah, and they're clearly using a lot of chickpeas, right? It's the top of the list. And with the way the fiber is, they're not subbing in stuff that doesn't have more fiber. So it sounds like they're, using a lot of those, which is good. But yeah, I think you're in kind of yellow and blue territory.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I just never seen the chickpea before, so I was like, oh, I'll try it. So.
You always find the most interesting ones.
Well, I have 2 more because I bought another.
I don't know if Lily's getting it. Are you getting it, Lily? We can go to another one while we wait. Does anybody else bring one? All right. We've talked about so many of them. There's probably not many left. All right, 2 more.
I'm gonna unmute myself. Have we talked about the broccoli crust one?
I don't think we have.
Or I didn't even know that that you could make chicken pepperoni. This one is cauliflower and chicken pepperoni.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Didn't know that. But okay, so the broccoli one is half a pizza is 340 calories. It's 16 grams of fat. It is 32 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber, 5 grams of sugar, and 17 grams of protein.
So yeah, so maybe a carb and a half, a yellow, or a yellow and a half, a blue, and a red.
Yellow, and 1.5 yellows. Is that
because you're over. Yeah, you're
340 calories.
Yeah, I think I think you'd be more toward a yellow and a half on that one.
Okay. And then how many? A blue and
a red.
A red. Yeah. See, that uses up a lot of my containers.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would like, so whatever that serving size is, that would be like a meal.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's a half a pizza, which is decent size.
And you could throw some volume veggies in with it and be set.
Yes. Well, yeah, this one has bell peppers, spinach, garlic, feta, cheese, and broccoli already on it. So then the chicken pepperoni, which I never heard of before. Half a pizza is 280 calories. It's 18 grams of fat, 8 grams of carbs, 1 dietary fiber, and 23 grams of protein.
So did they use chicken as the base?
No, so the crust is cauliflower, cheese, and milk. Uncured pepperoni.
Where's is the chicken on? Oh, is the chicken with it? Maybe it's not chicken pepperoni. Maybe it's just chicken and pepperoni.
It says organic uncured chicken pepperoni.
Oh. Okay.
So it's a pepperoni, but it's made from chicken.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so your carbs are pretty low on that one. I can't remember the number right now, but it seemed like it was 1 carb. Oh, it was 8. Yeah. So you're like at a half a carb, a full blue for sure, and probably a full red.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because the carbs were so low, whereas the other one, the chickpea one, was like 60 carbs, whereas this one's only 8. So.
Yeah, it really, well, the chickpea is a carb itself, right? Where cauliflower is a carb, but not nearly as, what's the word I'm looking for? Carby.
Yeah, but this one also doesn't have as many fibers. Like
cauliflower is a carb?
Yeah, all vegetables are carbs.
Oh, okay.
They just don't have very much, they don't have very many carbs to them. And some are more starchy, right? Like that's why a potato is for sure a yellow. But greens are carbs. They're just really low and they're really generally fiber filled. So the ratio is a little different. So they're containerized different because of the calories and the fiber. But that's how we get to 40% carbs, right? Because you've got purples, greens, and yellows all contributing to that 40%.
Oh, you mean it's not just the yellows? I can't count that 40% of my.
Nope. Sorry. Those fruit is a big one, especially depending on the fruit you pick.
What's the fruit that has like the highest fiber?
Berries are the best for ratio of fiber and low carb and low sugar. So they are like raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, boysenberries. They all are really fiber filled. Plus their sugar ratio is really low. Bananas are probably one of the worst for sugar wise and just not having a lot of like fiber, and they have value in nutrients, but you don't get a lot of volume in those too.
What about grapes? Aren't grapes pretty
I think they're pretty sugary.
Like bananas? Yeah.
Yeah. They're just pretty sugary and not that. And I don't know that they come with a lot of nutritional value. Not like a banana, I think has more than grapes, but yeah. And like the tropical fruits, you know, are also kind of the same thing, pretty high sugar content, but they do have a decent, it seems like a pineapple would have a decent amount of fiber. So, and mangoes are a little, probably less fibrous, but still, there's still quite a bit of fiber in there. So
they have a lot of sugar.
Yeah. But they're tasty too.
My favorite.
I live off the breakfast blend at Costco. Do you ever get that one? It's the breakfast blend. So it's pineapple, mango, peaches, strawberries.
Oh, for
the sunrise blend or some kind of blend. Yeah.
Yes. I've had that one before. It's delicious.
Yeah, that one's super good.
I also like their frozen cherries. So you can.
Yeah. They do have good cherries.
Those go really well with vanilla and chocolate.
Yeah. All right. Well, does anybody have any questions about anything or topics you want to talk about next week?
I have a question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, since you were talking about carbs, you know how the oatmeal says it's like a half cup of oatmeal? Do you measure it dry first and then put it in there?
Measure it after.
You measure it cooked. Yeah. Or if you do have like, what people will do is they'll take a blue container of dry. And then what was the ratio? I think then a yellow container of like almond milk, and that should be the right ratio of liquid to dry. So like if you're making a single serving.
Because I don't add milk, I just add water. That's it.
Yeah, or water, whatever you're doing. But I believe that's the ratio. A blue of the dry and then a yellow of the liquid would be like if you're doing overnight oats or something, that would be your serving size. But it's a yellow if it's already cooked.
Oh, that explains a lot for me.
Yes, it does.
My understanding is if you use a Shakeology cup on the scoop on your dry oats, that is a serving.
Oh, so that's a quarter cup?
Apparently. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 years.
I don't know. I've never measured my scoop. I always have the packets. So
I measured it at one point, like years and years ago, and that's how it came out.
Yeah.
A scoop was equal to whatever the finished product was.
Well, and sometimes the scoops change size too.
They do. Yeah.
They've changed over the years. I don't like it when they do that. They used to have ones that all had lines in the middle, so it's really easy to do a half C scoop. Now you kind of have to eyeball it, and yeah, I know I'm getting a heavy scoop because I do a lot of half and half shakes.
Yeah.
There are worse things that you could have.
Right. Yeah. There's worse things you could go heavy on, for sure.
Like peanut butter.
Yeah.
I always use a heavy scoop of Energized too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do halfsies of that too.
Yeah. I go halvesies on my Energized too.
I hide the peanut butter because of the same reason.
The best things are those little single serving that you can buy that you get at like a hotel breakfast. Those are the best things because you eat what's in your little container and no more because you don't have the jar in front.
That's true.
And they travel well on an airplane, by the way.
Have you cleared out several hotels before?
Maybe.
This is on recording, so I'm going to send it to the hotel chain.
Easy snacks for the kids on airplanes, and so that's what we would grab a couple extra for if we were getting on the airplane or at like the lounge or something. So.
It's a good idea. You should have an hour of just telling us how to travel and shop and live with a mini fridge and still stay on plan.
Like you said, like I forget what number it was, but use more things more than once in your week. Was that number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I buy a whole bunch of vegetables. Like I have broccoli, cauliflower, peppers, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, carrots, and peas. So those are all my vegetables that I have. And then I just bake them up, or I make a salad out of them, or I make a salad burrito out of them. And so I just use those all week basically as my base. And then I'll get chicken or some type of meat or tofu or something like that and add it to my whatever baked veggies I make. So I have a lot of baked veggies. It's super easy to make in the toaster oven. And
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I only bake them now. I don't know why I never did before, but like 2 years ago, my husband and I discovered baking veggies, and I just spray them with my coconut oil and then put some seasoning on them and bake them for, well, my toaster oven now it takes about 12 minutes and they're done.
Nice.
So, and shishito peppers. Shishito peppers.
Yeah. Those are so good.
My favorite pepper right now. So yeah. So those go with everything. Yeah. So that's where you get the frozen chicken from Costco a lot of times. That's already cut up, like the chunks of chicken.
Oh yeah, and they have the rotisserie bags too, so you could get, you know, refrigerated.
Yeah, but the nice thing about the frozen ones is it doesn't take room in your fridge, and
right.
It's easy to thaw them or cook them in the toaster oven, and it's all ready to go. Whereas if you have a big, you know, bag of chicken, then you have to put it somewhere. So for my little tiny fridge, that's a challenge. So, but yeah, they do also have the pulled chicken that's already ready to go at Costco, and you can use that all week in so many different dishes. It's really easy to use. I would definitely recommend that for everybody if you have a Costco near you.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well,
I got.
Yeah. Is there any other questions or anything you want to talk about?
Dry roasted, Kelly.
I don't know how to unmute myself. Someone's like, oh, that dry roast your vegetables. And I'm like, what does that mean? And you bake it on a sheet. And I'm like, why isn't it called baking? Is that something that's just here in Michigan, the dry roasting?
I've never heard of dry roasted vegetables. I've just heard of roasted vegetables.
Yeah, no, I guess I think we're just trying to be fancy or whoever.
Maybe. It's like dry roasted peanuts. Yeah.
You mean, why don't you just
exclusive.
Say bacon? That's what it used to be, right? That's what it is. Silly. Whatever works, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Should we get a picture? Let me dust off my. Oh, hang on. This thing is gonna, like, the reflection of the outside is a little rough here. Okay, ready? Peace. All right, you guys. Well, it was good to see you. And next week we'll figure out a new topic. If anybody has something there that's burning a hole in their head, then let me know and we'll get it online.
Thanks, Deanna.
Yeah, you're welcome. We'll see you later.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Again, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.